And at that sound, you know it's time for the newspaper review segment here on New Day, the big issues. Thank you for staying with us on the program. My name is Noble Crosby-Ann, and today it's a table of men, not with VGMAs, of course, but this is also another table of men. I'll start off with the introduction of my guest, Mr. Amaliba. Good morning to you. How are you? Ibrahim Amaliba is the Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC. Good morning, Mr. Amaliba.
Good morning.
It's been a busy week for you, hasn't it?
That is so. From here, I'll be moving into the courtrooms. You know, we have been served with an application for injunction. And as lawyers, we need to work around the clock to ensure that that is set aside. And so from Tuesday night to, say, Thursday morning, it has been a busy 2 days for us.
The man has not slept.
Trying to file processes, to bring back the date to today, and then also filing processes to appeal to the Chief Justice to see whether he can make us have the date as at yesterday. You know, it was told that we were going to sit yesterday. And it has also been 2 days of frustrations from the delegates all over the country. They are calling. They think you are their messiah. They think you can do something about it. So is it coming off or it's not coming off? It's been, and the media, you also let us also sleep, you know. So
the people want to know, that's why.
Yeah, it's a difficult.
We'll get into that conversation pretty shortly. But joining Mr. Amaliba is also lawyer Kwame Jantwa, who is chairman of political affairs, the director of legal affairs also of the NDC one time, and the committee of the CPP. Mr. Jantwa, you're welcome. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm the chairman of the political affairs committee.
Right. CPP. How are you doing, Mr. Jantwa?
I'm very well.
Nice. Now, you have had a relatively stable week, right?
You know, the challenges of Ghana sometimes, you know, confuse
But
you.
yours will be better.
Confuse you and don't understand why people do certain things. This bill that is going through Parliament, the one that Sam George put through.
The anti-LGBTQ plus bill.
You don't understand. I listened to the news yesterday. I don't understand what government is kerfuffling about with regards to it. And today this the president might not sign it. I mean, come on. If Ghanaians don't want this thing, why are they now finding ways around it?
But
if it's not
at the
external
moment,
pressure.
There's a suit against the Speaker of Parliament and the Attorney General over a lack of fiscal impact analysis on the bill.
Let me ask you something. What doesn't have an impact on our consolidated fund?
So they're asking that
some of the things that we even use our consolidated fund to do. Isn't this more important? You're kerfuffling around it. I don't understand it.
I see.
How much money are we talking about? Please.
So that was lawyer Kwame Jantwa, who is the chairman of the political affairs committee of the CPP, also the Director of Legal Affairs of the CPP. They're also joining us this morning is Awal Muhammad, who is a National Communications Team member of the NPP. Awal, good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, my brother.
You have had a stable week too, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's only office work that's what has kept me busy. Yesterday we were at NIC, National Insurance Commission, where we are training 6,000 agents for the insurance companies. So I was at NIC yesterday, Ghana Insurance College, where they had that. So it's only office work. Yes.
But you're still keeping a close eye on what is happening in Mr. Amaliba's party.
Sure. You know, as a politician, definitely we'll have to keep close eye on what is happening there. And we are following it religiously. Yes.
Right, gentlemen, you're welcome. We'll get into the
correction. I'm not the director of legal affairs at the CPP.
Okay.
You said political affairs.
No. You said legal affairs.
Legal.
Political affairs.
You said political and legal.
Right.
Legal, yes.
Gentlemen, you're welcome. Well, it's been a good morning, maybe for you, but for the entire country, it has not been good at all. We're talking about the death of 9 school pupils.
Before you go on, how are you yourself?
Well, I'm fine. I'm managing. We're coping. But of course, nothing $1 million will not do.
The money issue, eh?
Yes, it is also very, very, very important. I mean, we ended yesterday on a very sad note. I mean, 9 school children, they drowned just in a quest for them to get quality education in a journey they were embarking on from school to their homes. I'll start off with you, Mr. Jantwa. What are we not getting right? This is not the first time we're seeing this. So in January 2023, just this year, we've seen about 33 persons. They have died from canoe capsizes, from boat accidents at various areas. 8 persons, school children, they drowned in the Volta Lake. And then just 2 months after that, we saw another one in March 2023, and that was 6 persons that happened in Ada in the Greater Accra region. In March, another 8 persons, they drowned also in the OT region, and then May 2 persons. And then just yesterday, 9 persons lost their lives, unfortunately. What will it take for us to wake up to this challenge of inland travels and their safety?
Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my fellow panelists. Are we serious people in this country? Are we serious people? We sat around this table over and over again. All the enumerations you've said there, we've discussed it every time it happens. Are we serious people? Are we serious to take care of these island areas and people who live around the waterways and use canoes to travel back and forth? You see, we don't have a plan in this country. So we build schools far away from communities, and we don't have good roads. And the only way some of our Ghanaian children can travel is only through canoes. So if it's happened once, if this were any other country, they would make sure that they look through the entire boat travel in this country. Who has done it? How many have you enumerated there?
We have about 5 so far.
5.
This year.
How many people died?
33 persons.
33 people. You don't seem to be interested in people dying. Our last election, how many people died? The last election we had, 2020.
Yeah.
Have we done anything about it? Can't be bothered. Can't be bothered. You have a regional minister in all the regions, haven't we?
We do.
You have district.
Yes.
What are they doing?
We have educational directors.
Have we
there.
fired anybody? Has anybody taken responsibility of it? Can you imagine? Can you imagine if a politically exposed person who is in government sat in a canoe and the thing capsized and he drowned or she drowned? Can you imagine what will happen? Will we not run? And to make matters worse, the young person who was manning that canoe was only 12 years old. Only 12 years old. Doesn't make sense. Who polices these canoes on our water bodies?
And it was overloaded too.
Who polices it? It's not happened once. Maybe it's happened once, we would, give chance. It's happened more than 5 times. Even the ones that happen that we don't hear.
Yeah.
Plenty. Are we serious people? Does our government, are they bothered about the people and how the people live and how the people travel? And you build a school that children have to cross rivers to go to the school back and forth, back and forth. Do we teach the children how to swim? Do we give them protective jackets? Do we educate them?
No, there are no protective jackets.
Do we
for them.
make sure that the canoes that they are using, we revise it and give them better boats? Do we do all that? We can't be bothered. So what are we sitting around the table talking about?
So Mohammed,
what
what will it take for your government to listen to these pleas of parents, of teachers, of students in areas like this where you require inland water travel to access education? They are asking for something very basic, life jackets. So if you're not able to build schools for them in the immediate, life jacket, you should be able to provide it for them.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. I think it's a right call, and it was really quite disheartening when I heard that 9 people died and they were returning from school. When I listened to the 13-year-old who survived, he claimed that when they got there, they were looking for a better canoe, and the small boy, 12-year-old, came with a canoe, and he asked them that it's overloaded, and he says so they can still go, and they were able to really sail and got to a place where it capsized. I think what is important now is that who is manning our water, at least areas like this. the marine police, where are they? Who is trying to check whether we have better canoes on the on our rivers and so on? You cannot build schools almost everywhere in this country. There are places where when you go, you will find that it's about 5-6 families that live on a small island, and you cannot really construct school there. Definitely, they will have to cross to get to where they can get access to school. So for you to say everywhere must get school, that is really not the case, because you may build a school and you will not get even students to be in the school.
Right.
But what is important is that GES must take this as really a matter of urgency to provide life jackets for people, and at least the teachers, and because I'm told one of the people teachers who was also on the canoe.
That also happened yesterday.
Yes.
He died also on the same on a journey like that.
Yes, so I think GES and the Ministry of Education must at least expedite action in purchasing all these life jackets for them, and they should make sure that at least we get the marine police to really get to the place and look at who mans which canoe or boat, so that at least we'll get the right people to do it, and the safety of it, and other things. I remember when you go to a place like Yeji, you may find people in the boat. You'll find life jackets because there are police there to police it. So even if you don't have life jacket, you enter it. They will give you the life jacket to put it to wear and be in. So definitely, I think GES must really do something about this as quick as possible.
But the question on the minds of many is, they did have to get to this level before we began acting. It did not start today. Just this year, in January, we had 8 people dying.
Yeah.
That was not loud enough to ask government or the agencies responsible, the GES, the Ministry of Education, the others you're speaking about, to provide them with what they need, so we don't get to what happened in March, in May, and what happened yesterday.
Better late than never. Now it has happened, and I think this is the right time for us to really get them, because you've enumerated all the accidents, and about 30-something people died, and in all these you may find school children and so on. So I think better late than never, as I said. The GES must really do it as a matter of urgency to get these life jackets, and those who man it is also very important. Even if you have the life jacket and you don't have the right people at least using the canoe, that will also spell doom for you, because you wouldn't know what will happen if the person doesn't even wear it well and so on. That will also be a problem. So I think better late than never, as I said. GES and Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education must as much as possible within these weeks and months get life jackets for at least communities that live around the water bodies. Yes,
the islands.
The islands. So
If I may also add, it's not only a question of life jackets. It's a question of, within the people in the community, train marshals to make sure that the number of people in a canoe is a certain number, and make sure that it happens within the community.
Some enforcement.
Yes, some enforcement there. You can hire people within that community. Say, Mr. A, you live here. Make sure that at any given time you have 8 people in the canoe. No matter what they say, make sure it's 8. Nobody should overload, because there are points where these people get into the canoe, aren't there? Identify those points and make sure that they don't go to other areas that, they would now try and, circumvent. Because people's lives.
And have designated people to man
Designated
the
people
canoes
to man the
also.
canoes. And also, if it happens, those people who you've chosen to man, you hold them responsible, because it's their job. But nothing. NADMO.
Yeah.
NADMO should take this up, because in the end, it comes to their doorstep. It's supposed to help. And may I also plead, private institutions, yes, it's hard. Help buy some of these life jackets. Look, Ghana is not only government.
Yes.
Ghana is also the people. But government should encourage the private sector to get into some of these things.
It's better if they are spearheading
Exactly.
the efforts than the
This
citizenry
happened
to follow.
in Accra here.
Yes.
Accra here. Do you know what's happening elsewhere? I think, I'm not sure whether it's today or tomorrow, sometime this week, the VRA are are spilling. So they are doing some...
the wager dam is being spilled.
Apart from the wager dam, Akosombotu is going to be spilled. So they are doing these kind of training to let people see what happens. But the question I ask, these waters we spill, can we not capture these waters?
Put them to other uses.
Exactly. Wager. People's houses are being flooded every year.
Yeah.
What is it?
Last year was terrible.
This year too will be terrible. Why? I don't understand it.
Mr. Malaba, how did you receive the news of the death of the 9 persons?
I must say that these frequent accidents that you have enumerated are an indictment on the entire nation. Complete indictment. We have failed our children, and most of the time, school children are involved. Is it because the children have no voices? Who speaks for the children? We have state institutions, the gender ministry, which is in charge of the children. What are they doing? You see, the other day, it was the lack of vaccines. I don't know how we treat, you see, the way we treat our children, as if they are animals. And like I indicated, I don't know whether because in meetings, you don't find children come to sit around the table so that they will see the child before they can think about him. That's why we are behaving the way we are behaving. The other day it was vaccines. And I'm even told by my friend that the vaccine situation still persists. You know? So, if you have a nation that does not take care of its children, that nation has failed. Because they are the future generation.
Yeah.
And look at the way we are treating them. Look, I want to ask a question. He said something about establishment of schools. I want to ask him, if the GS or the Minister of Education is taking a decision to establish schools in our communities, do they take into consideration communities where the school children will have to cross rivers before they attend school in another place? And for that reason, that should be the priority for the GS to establish school there. I just want to ask. And I'm sure if you do your investigation, they don't take that into consideration at all. In fact, those areas are even forgotten areas. Sometimes they themselves will sit in their office and call those places overseas. That's how they call them. That's how they call them, overseas. As if they are glad for those people to be in those areas. And so, us for those areas, they are forgotten areas. Let's not even plan for them.
They think they're not part of the...
They are not part of
Ghana.
yes. Those areas, those type of areas. They call them, the derogative word they use is overseas, which means that it's in Afghanistan. You see? So if you have a nation that behaves this way, for me, it's sad. And I think that these accidents are a scar on our conscience as a nation. How much does it cost to build a 6-classroom block? Some of the money they gave to Ajay in the famous hole that was dark.
You mean the National Cathedral?
What do you call it?
The National Cathedral design.
Akufalu's Cathedral, did you take part in designing that? So, that money they gave to Ajay could build a school in some of these communities. 6-classroom block. So that they don't cross, and in some cases, these children will cross crocodile-infested ponds to go to school. Why? The fact that we would have all loved to be born in Accra, but I didn't decide where my great-grandfather would go and settle. And it's not that as if we went into a boxing ring and they knocked my grandfather down and he went to settle over there. And that's why they are in Accra and I am somewhere. It's just by coincidence. And so, if you say we are one nation, then let's spread the development in such a way that we will not have some people suffering whilst others are enjoying. And for me, clearly, this is a clear indication of how we do not love our children as a nation. Simplicity.
Mr. Jatwa, there have been calls for heads to roll, particularly at this instance. If we're to do that, if we're to finally take action beyond finding them life jackets, beyond looking for approved opportunities or avenues to convey these children to and from school, or the people living in inland areas, inland water areas, to promote their safety and all of that? What more could we do?
You said heads to roll. Who are going to roll those heads? Who is responsible to make sure that those who have been given the responsibility, if they don't execute that responsibility, their heads will roll?
From the president to the education minister to the deputies to the directors of education in the regions, in the district, municipalities.
Whose head
all of
has
that.
rolled in this government with the president? Tell me, whose head? Whose head has rolled? How many people's heads have rolled in this government? And I won't even put it only this government. In this Fourth Republic, tell me how many people were sacked because they weren't able to do their jobs. How many? It is something that has to be a national discussion, if for nothing at all. People have to take the responsibility of their jobs. You have been put in a situation to do X, to do Y. It's not happening. Why? And if you feel you can't do the job, move and let somebody else come and take the job over.
Yeah.
And anyway, how do we assess the capability or capacity of an individual we put in a certain position? How do we do that? And you see, what happens what has happened in this Fourth Republic? The MPP come into power, they move everybody who is there out and bring their own people. The NDC come into power, they move everybody who is there and bring new people. When you have spent government money, the people's money, to train these people. So who is prepared to make heads roll? We can't be bothered. And if you can't be bothered, why would you want us to rule? You said to yourself, it happens all the time. What's this? Let's move on. But somebody's life. There could be a parent there who has only one child. And if the child drowns. But anyway, wouldn't it be a good thing that you know that these canoes capsizing can happen? Isn't it a good thing to teach the children how to swim? It's a good thing. When I was in primary school, class 1, class 2, class 3, they taught me how to swim.
There's this, if you like, assumption that people who are born in such areas, by the time you're 3 years old, you're able to, find your ways in around these areas. You'll be able to swim if you're 4 years old. If you're born there, it's part of the growing up process.
So you think children can just jump into a water body and start swimming?
Not at all.
Somebody has to teach you how to swim. So let me ask the question. Our famous city on stilts.
In Zulezo.
Do you hear anything like that happening there?
No, not that often.
So how can people live on the water and you don't find trouble there, but in these areas you do? And most of the children there, one of their main excitements is to swim in the water. Why don't we teach people in these areas to learn how to swim?
You spoke about it. It is also worth noting that the students there, the children there, for those who attend junior high school in the closest community, that's the Benyini community, they also have to cross the river, the Amanzule River, to the next town, also without life jackets. And they do that just by themselves. So they delegate, one of the students to man the boat. They all get inside and then they travel to and from school. That could be a disaster that is also waiting to happen.
These canoes, are they paddle canoes? These canoes that they used to cross?
They are the man-powered canoes.
Man-powered ones. So why don't we motorize them? Why don't we... Look, what is the plan? That's the question I ask.
Yeah.
What is the plan? This thing has happened over and over again. Do we not sit and say, okay, what's the plan? What can we do to save this thing not happening again?
Mohammed, for the education institutions, so we've heard from NAT.
Yes.
So they say that there'll be a major demonstration in the country. That will be playing to you that story shortly, where the executives of NAT, the National Association of Teachers, served notice of a nationwide demonstration. Let's take a listen to what the General Secretary of NAT, Thomas Musa Tanko, said in relation to the boat accidents we're talking about.
And what has happened today should be a wake-up call to the policymakers. We must say, never again should this thing happen. And I repeat, in fact, what has happened this time around, we might say never again should this thing happen to the children of this country? The children of this country deserve better. They deserve better. Together with their teachers, they deserve better.
Yes, we talk about a series of actions. What are these actions?
When we get there, we must first bring it to the attention of the policymakers. If because the children cannot hold press conferences, if it is because the children cannot even go on demonstration and all those things, people will have to organize the children for them, the children to start talking to the powers that be. Now look, we are tired. It should not be only about you, the elders and the adults. We are also there. Remember us. Should this thing happen? Never again. Look, how much will it cost us to provide them with life jackets? How much? No, tell me how much. Are we saying that we cannot provide them, these children with life jackets? Granted that we cannot even, in the interim, can't we provide them with life jackets? So that when they are going to school, the children should be in the life jacket. At least when the one that happened at Ada, it should have brought to our attention that, look, can we provide schools, provide life jackets to all the schools on the islands? Ada happened, the Karachi has happened, and now this one has happened. We are still looking on. Nobody is saying anything. No. In any case, how many children go to school there? That reminds me of the Bob Marley song. That why should our prophets keep on dying? We stand by and look. Why? That cannot be.
That is an angry Thomas Musa Tanko speaking there. And Mohammed, they say you do not care about the children at all. If you did, this would not be happening.
I was thinking he'll even talk about his teachers, because if you check the number of casualties, there are teachers there.
Yes.
They are supposed to also help their teachers. They pay dues. What have they also done as NAT to protect their teachers? Because it's also part of the things that you will do to help them, because you are supposed to take care of their welfare.
So we shouldn't really be also on the
no, I'm saying that we shouldn't really be on a blame game. It's true that we must call GES, but I just called on GES, yes, and Ministry of Education to make sure that as a matter of urgency, they should provide these life jackets to teachers. I mentioned teachers and students in these areas, and I said that's also not enough, because we should make sure that at least we get people who are the right people to man these canoes. When you put the machine in the canoes, sometimes fueling it is also another problem. And
excuses.
And you see, they cannot be paying every day.
So that just says you're giving excuses.
Excuses.
You're just finding excuses. Yeah,
how much is petrol as compared to your...
You see,
how much is it to
government
your
does not
cathedral?
procure these things. It will be private people who will procure and be using it on the in the islands and so on. So definitely they cannot afford. I'm sure they can. They will also like to have these machine-induced canoes that they can use on the rivers. So let's not blame. Start the blame game. Let's see how best we'll be able to solve the problem. How many people must be on a canoe? How many life jackets must be on? Whether the marine police will be able to make sure that every canoe on our island have life jackets. Because I told you, when you go to Yeji, it's there. You may find about 10, 20 in one canoe. That at least the moment you enter. Because I ever crossed that river to Makango from Yeji, and they gave me life jacket. I did not have life jacket, but those men in the boat gave me life jacket to wear before I was able to cross. So how are we making sure that at least every canoe will have about 3 or 4, and the children too must have their life jackets? The swimming is very important. They should be taught how to swim and so on.
Mohammed,
very important.
there have been calls for your government to watch how it is cutting budget expenditure to the education sector, particularly to basic schools. So in the 2023 budget, we're seeing, for instance, the first time in 2 decades, only 12.9% of the budgeted expenditure was allocated to them. And the 15% is the minimum. If we do all these things, we'll be able to sort some of these issues out, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I think if you check previous years, we did a lot of investments in education, especially construction of classroom blocks and so on. This government has constructed over 1,000 blocks in almost all the schools across the country. And in senior high school, we've constructed about 11 brand new senior high school, completed what DNDC had left and so on. So there was substantial budget allocations for the Ministry of Education. I'm sure that's the reason maybe in 2022 we've seen some shortfalls and so on. And you know, the country, we've said it, that we have economic challenges, and I know that almost all sectors have a cut in their expenditure and so on, and not really education alone. So yes, let GES come and tell us that really they do not have the budget to support this. I'm sure, as I said, this is a matter of.
But we know they may not have the money to do that.
Yes, but they are not telling us that. So let's wait.
GS has not told you they don't have the money to do these.
No, but they have not given any reason for not really doing the procurement. We are now calling on them.
I see.
Big procurement help so that at least we're able to get life jackets for people living around this place, the teachers and the students living around this place.
Mr. Jantua, briefly, you're smiling at the comments that Awa Mohammed is making.
When Mohammed was talking, I was asking myself, do we not pay Get Fund Levy?
We do.
Everything you do, don't you pay Get Fund Levy? That money, can't some be put towards some of these things? So I ask the question, where is the educational plan? We've got to a stage in this country where manifestos aren't working. They are not working. We need a plan. We need a plan. We need an educational plan. What is the plan for education? What are some of the attributes of education that we need to look after? And these types of traveling is part and parcel of it. So, your car, you have a sticker on it for, what do you call it, to see if it's roadworthy.
Roadworthy.
Do we look at those canoes, whether they are they are worthy canoes to go on the water bodies? Apart from that, if this were any other country, they would have a certain style of crafting those canoes to make sure that even if you get to a point where the canoe wants to capsize, because the way it's designed, it will be able to at least go to a safer place. Who is sitting down and thinking of these things? Who is responsible?
Let me pick your closing remarks on this subject.
You see, you know we have school buses.
Yes.
That carry children from school and home. How difficult is it to dedicate a boat that will carry these children to cross and come back? And this boat, because it's dedicated for the children, you have an experienced person manning it. And then there's a new technology now. You can fit them with floaters.
Yes.
In Thailand and in Vietnam, it's there.
Just like the hovercraft.
So that even if it capsizes, it will be floating.
Yeah.
People will not sink.
Yeah.
So dedicate a boat for the children to cross and come, if you can build school there. EduWatch, you know EduWatch?
Kofi Asari's
Exactly.
think tank.
Have time without number complained about the lack of vests, life jackets.
Yeah, they wrote to the government in January when the first incident happened.
Okay, nothing has come out of it. You see, sometimes the uselessness of this government is so mind-boggling that when you even give them a suggestion, they don't take. For how long are we going to be seeing our children die in this way? Is it because there's no big man's child dying?
Or maybe, like what Jantua said, we're waiting for a big politician to unfortunately experience something like this, then we'll add.
And if we had a big man's child involved in such accidents, by now they would have done it. So there are a plethora of suggestions and conclusions, answers to how to deal with this.
Yeah.
But the other side is, has government done anything? Have they moved 1 inch for us to say that, Awal will say there and say that, ever since this thing started, we have done this to resolve the matter? Nothing. He says that, we should now look for solutions. For how long have people died? Now that you are looking for solutions? When those solutions were brought to your table?
When the first incident happened.
So it is about a reckless government that doesn't care. And I think that this is not what we bargained for.
If for nothing at all, involve the traditional authorities.
Yeah, there are comments.
The chiefs, the queen mothers.
Right.
Involve them, at least, to start a certain process. Who is talking to them?
So
Who's
David,
the mouthpiece there?
David Naba is saying that if a government can get people in such communities to guide the children across every day and give them something to motivate the volunteers, with time you upgrade your plans, because we can't afford to keep letting children die in this 21st century. And Nani says, while you're contradicting yourself. And somebody is raising questions as to why you want the GES to come and tell government they need these things when you know this calamity calls for strict investigation that can unravel the needs of the sector. Always operating a fire service government, always reactionary and not proactive. Seidu Isaka says he's been to Thailand several times and he's traveled on boat several times, just like what Amaliba was talking about. And it is a safe travel if you do that in Thailand, because the mechanisms are there to ensure your safety. A country without a sense of direction is like a blind person walking on a busy road. That's coming from Austin Abuaji. These are some of the comments that are coming to us on social media relating to the subject matter we're talking about. Look, all we're saying is simple. Just this year, from January to May, yesterday, 33 persons have so far died in their quest for inland water travel. We're asking for safety measures for them. What happened yesterday should be the last we're seeing of these things. Whichever agency is responsible, whichever ministry, whichever institution should look at this, I think this should be the whip that is breaking the camel's back. We should not be talking about these subjects again on this table. We're in the 21st century. We're talking about education of the future leaders. If you care about the children, like you say you do, please, all we're asking is that do the right thing. Don't facilitate the cutting short of these destinies.
And to add, it's a blight on the country Ghana.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether you watch CNN sometimes. You know this thing about using children in cocoa growing areas. I was watching CNN one time and they had gone for a break. And this company that is against that now brought Ghana that we are using young children to handle our cocoa.
Yeah.
And they showed videos of it. It's not a good thing for us, because an international institution would take it, blow it out on international media, and it looks as if Ghana, that is all that we do. We don't care about our children. It's not good. Something should be done to stop this. Something should be done.